Hey, I'm John G.
Hey, I'm Craig B. Let's conversate. All right, so
New topic, who dis?
new topic, who dis?
Okay.
Have at it.
Let's see what
You don't want to do the whole
No,
shaky above the head?
No.
You're not that flexible?
No. Looks like a third grader wrote this.
I did. I'm sorry. That's about the time I learned how to stop writing. I'm just saying.
Let's see here. Travel.
Oh, travel. All right. I think the intent behind that is ideal place to go and kind of where you've been already. Like if you had one spot that you could travel to as your dream destination, where would that be?
I don't know where the exact spot is, but
Anybody away from the general populace?
yeah, on a beach
Okay.
with clear white water that doesn't get hit by hurricanes, which I don't think exists. With just somebody bringing me tequila style drinks all day long.
With little umbrellas in them all day?
I don't care. Umbrella, no umbrella, and maybe somewhere that I can learn how to surf, because I don't know what it is about the ocean. It like mesmerizes me, and I just want to be there all the time.
Yeah. I used to feel that way, and then I joined the Navy because they said, hey, come join the Navy. You'll see the world. Little did I know that 70% of it was water. And by that point, it was already too late. I'd already signed it on the dotted line saying, ha ha, got another one. You know,
That's one of those Bill Engvall, like, here's your sign.
Right, here's your, ha ha, ding dong, here's your sign. Yeah, no, it was, so I like your idea. The wife and I have talked about our dream vacation being Bora Bora.
Oh yeah.
You know where that is?
Yeah.
I don't think they get hurricanes.
Yeah.
I think they get typhoons.
Well,
it's the same thing.
Just different side of the earth.
Right. Just because the wind spins differently down there, right?
Spins the other direction.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah. So, because there's that whole area right there. You know, it's Fiji, Huahine, Bora Bora. There's that whole series of islands there, and you can. I think they're it's much like the Hawaiian Islands, in that you can kind of jump from one island to the other and experience kind of different things. But I think I've been to Hawaii. I was in again when it was join the Navy. You'll see the world. Well, I did. I was able to see Hawaii, but I wasn't able to see it with my wife at the time. I was only able to see it with my fellow shipmates because we had gone there. So there is I can't remember which island it is, but it's one of them that has an old leper colony that they have converted to. It's like a day. You can take a day trip and you can take a horseback ride to get to them. And so I would love to kind of get to that point. So what they have is just you take a day trip and it's horseback riding. But I think you have to go from the main island, which I believe is Maui, to one of these other offset islands that they have.
Yeah, because they've got the little puddle jumper planes and stuff
like
that can get you over across.
Right, but when we had the former airline that was in our hometown, it was Mesa Airlines, right?
Oh, yeah.
Little turbo prop kind of jobby, but so I would love to be able to take the wife and go over there and go on a horseback ride and follow that, because it was one of those things I was Googling one time, like, all right, what's one of the cool things to see in Hawaii, and that was one of them.
Yeah.
Was you can take this you take a little it's a day trip basically, but you take a trip over to one of those islands, you get on horseback and you go to this little leper community, and it was in the like 40s and 50s. And so at some point they've gone and converted it now, and you do that, and it's supposedly got this crystal clear blue water, and it's just kind of
that's what I'm talking about.
It's kind of just in a like little private cove that's over there, and so I would love to go see that or anything in the of course Fiji at all.
Yeah, the Caribbean. We went for our 10th anniversary to Hawaii. The Waikiki area. We didn't know what the difference was between like where Waikiki Beach was, because it's a little farther away from us. Then there's another beach that's it's got a Fort something beach.
Oh, okay. I think I know where you're talking about.
So we went over there the first day, and like it was more of a like, this isn't. If you want a beach, cool.
All right.
But if you want to go do anything out in the water, there's quite a bit of coral and stuff like it.
Oh.
We ended up being there for maybe an hour and then walked. It was probably maybe a 20 or 30-minute walk to Waikiki Beach.
Oh, okay.
Just along the coastline. So we did that, and Waikiki Beach was fantastic. I mean, it's all man-made, so like you see all these people, but you can walk out like hundreds of yards out into the ocean because it's still so high because they literally just dump cargo ships of sand in there.
Oh, right.
So it makes it feel much, much bigger. So we hung out there for a couple days. We did a luau at one of the places, so we got to see the pig cooked in the ground and whatnot.
Oh, right.
The end process.
What is that called? That whole there's a specific process, because my brother did one. I think it was for his 40th birthday that he did something like that. He dug the pit and had the charcoal and roasted the pig, and
I can't remember what it's called.
And I know
it's delicious.
I know it's amazing meat. If you ever get a chance, by all means, and you have the opportunity to do that, try that. I mean, it's just literally fall off the bone, soft, just amazing food.
And the cool part on the way there was we got to see a lot of Hawaii, and like when you watch like some of Jurassic Park and stuff was filmed some part of Hawaii, but you get to see some of that stuff and you understand how like the mountains are huge and just fully green.
Right.
We got to see some of the stairs on when they were trying to take radio equipment up to the top of the mountain during Pearl Harbor and stuff.
Oh, right.
So you can kind of see those. They're all blocked off now because people were going up there and jumping off.
Having some problems, right?
Yeah, so they're like heavily... If you get caught up there, it's a huge penalty. So we got to see that. We did what we thought was a snorkeling deal, where we're supposed to like canoe out and snorkel areas.
Oh, right.
It ended up being, we didn't pay for that part of it, and we were like, we're not going to do that. So they dropped us off on a beach, and they kind of said, hey, if y'all want to relax and play in the water or whatever, this is kind of the best, but if y'all walk like 3 houses down, or like 3... They're just like alleyways that go to the beach, to the water, in between all these homes.
Oh, like access road kind of thing? Okay.
If you go about 3 of those down and then walk in, there's some good snorkeling and stuff. So we walked all the way down there, took our gear, ended up eating lunch over there. Didn't see anything but maybe a couple fish the whole time. And I was like, golly, this is...
kind of a disappointment.
Yeah, and I feel like we did a pretty good chunk of water.
Right.
So we went back to the other area because I remember that there was kind of a boat ramp situation, and it looked like old lava flow had broken off down in there and stuff. And I was like, well, let's go check that out.
Well, right.
Which was a little rough getting out there because there's lots of sharp rock.
Right, because it's magma. But like hardened magma.
Yeah, and
lava flow, right?
And I had done a bunch of research on like if you should buy like water shoes or not, and a lot of people were like, we bought them but didn't use them. Like it just seems like you don't need
that
them.
Might have been an ideal spot to use them.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So we started snorkeling out there and fish, and then all of a sudden, a sea turtle literally comes up from underneath me from somewhere.
Oh wow!
Yeah, like I could have touched it. And then we see.
A whole Finding Nemo moment there, huh?
Like I see a couple other turtles and all these fish, and
it
was a cool deal. It was kind of scary at the same point because the waves there were a little rough, so you kept getting pulled kind of close to that wall of old lava flow.
Oh, right.
And then the ground in some places isn't very far from where you're swimming, so you're talking about catching your knees and stuff on things.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a little scary. On that aspect, but we got to see all kinds of cool fish, and
oh sure,
the people that took the boats out literally, like we walked to our meeting spot or whatever, and we're like, golly, where are these people? Well, they're dragging these like little canoes or whatever all the way across this like park area that comes off of where the beach is, and they're just wore out. Well, and then after that, like, we're like, oh, what all did you guys see? Oh, not much. He busted his knee open, and so and so I think saw a turtle, but like it sounded like we saw way more than they did,
Oh wow.
and we didn't
Just-
have to
just-
drag a boat across
Just
an
the-
entire parkway.
Just the luck of where you happen to wind up.
I
right?
really think it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had a blast, but there's so much there that we didn't get to see it all.
Yeah, I mean that's unfortunate, because of the time, right? Most people only have maybe a week, 10 days. Sometimes
Yeah.
you get lucky and you can take 2 weeks off if you can break away from that long, and you're probably much like myself. You're in a strategic situation, right, where your position doesn't afford you that time to.
Yeah, it's hard to get a week off.
It's hard to get a week off, much less two.
Yeah.
And so, maybe my wife and I have been lucky enough to go to. We've been to Mexico, which my brother paid for because at the time he had been traveling a whole lot, so he had a whole bunch of airline miles, and so he just basically kind of gifted that as a wedding present for us. We've been there, and then on our 25th we took off and went to Jamaica for a week, and that was absolutely fantastic. And
That was when y'all went to Sandals, right?
yes,
Was that the Sandals Resort?
Yep. We went to the Sandals Resort and did the whole Butler experience. And if you can ever do that, at least once, that's the way to go. Because then you don't have to. It's not like living that other ultimate rich lifestyle, but
Yeah.
you tend to get a little better taken care of while you're there. And they reserve some excursions for you, and they do all that planning, and it takes a lot of that stress of planning everything out. And they say, yeah, what would you like to do while you're here? And you can just kind of work through them, and you'll come back to the room, and they might create some little funny animal out of the towels or the bedspreads, or if you want to have something a little romantic with your dinner that night, and they can put rose petals on the bed. And where we were at, we had there was a pool that you could walk out to and just kind of float right there, but we had like a little private patio, and we had dinner there. And
That's awesome.
I think my wife has some photos of there was it's a bird. It's not like a peacock, but it's another one of those real fancy birds.
Yeah.
That was there, and I'm I'm having I think it was lunch. I'm having like a hamburger or something, and I'm pouring my Diet Coke, and this bird comes up and just plunks down on the back of the chair that's on the opposite side of the table. And so my wife's standing there looking at the bird, and I'm like, what is he doing? And then he just sat there and looked at me. And so I ripped off a French fry and just threw it out and said, all right, go get it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because I wanted him off the chair, because
Well,
we wanted to eat lunch, because we had something else to do.
And to have birds sitting there.
Yeah. But it's just kind of weird that you're kind of one with the kind of the wildlife there. It was really cool. It was a really good time.
And you and the wife were going to send us for our wedding anniversary to not a Sandals, but I really wanted to go to the Virgin Islands, or
Right.
one of those crazy places like that, and I got outvoted. We still had a blast. Y'all sent us to Disney World, and we had a grand time.
I don't remember there being. I don't really remember there being much of a vote. I just remember my wife saying, "Hey, we're going to send them here," and that's all there is.
No, there wasn't much of a vote, and I ended up losing my job while I was gone.
Oh, that's right.
Like the company that I work for,
they sold, right? They sold out
they went
closed.
bankrupt.
Oh, okay, they went bankrupt. I couldn't remember that.
Or they were in the process of being bankrupt, and they started. I can't remember what happened. I don't know if the oil field went down. Like the economy tanked there for a while.
Was that around?
And a lot of the retail companies started closing up, and they said that they had put in things in place that it wasn't going to happen to us. So
Oh, right, sure. They put the mechanisms in.
yeah, my boss calls me while we're out there and hey, I don't want to ruin your honeymoon, but
FYI, there's.
We've got like 2 months before we're closed down.
Oh,
you come
right.
back, and I'm like,
Was that 2009?
I don't even know.
I think that was 2009 because I think the economy took a downturn in 2008.
Yeah,
I think that
was a housing crisis.
Yeah, that was the housing crisis, and then I think
That might have been it.
I think that there was a trickle down effect from that period of time.
So we did that, and then we went back with you guys that next year, back to Disney World.
Yep.
Daytona Beach.
Which was your first time seeing the ocean.
Which was amazing.
Well, and again, it was one of those things I think we talked about in the last episode. You know, if you've never done something and you're that close, take the time and go out of the way to go do that thing.
Yeah.
Because it could be a, I don't want to say a life altering experience, because to me seeing the ocean is just seeing the ocean.
Yeah.
But of course I'd
yeah,
sailed
you were on it for
several years.
Yeah.
And so it's just one of those things, like I don't have the same perspective of it as somebody who's never seen it, right?
Just the like raw power of
oh,
it.
sure.
Like to see a wave come and you're like, oh, that's cute, you know, and then it hits you and you're knocked on your ass.
Yeah. Oh, that came
like,
out. Where'd that come from? That came out of
yeah,
nowhere.
while the sand is being pulled out from under your feet at the same time. Like, I there's something just completely mesmerizing about it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Daytona Beach way better than when we went to San Diego at Mission Beach.
Right.
The water's probably there's probably a 15 to 20 degree difference between the two.
Sure, and the time of the year that we went was different too.
So it was a lot warmer at Daytona Beach than it was at Mission Beach.
Yeah, I remember as a kid, kind of the one of the first trips I took without mom and dad was I had gone to the same friend of mine that had the Apple IIe that, again, making the connection back to the gaming piece, was they were going to take this trip out to California, and they were going to stay at Laguna Beach. And so kind of my first exposure to the ocean at that point was at Laguna Beach in California, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
But we'd gone to Disneyland, spent time with them, had all kinds of fun, and then we ended up that I don't necessarily think it was I think in this day and age you would call it like an Airbnb, right? But back then they had found some place that was for rent, and you could do these weekly vacation rentals back then.
Yeah. Airbnb before the internet was big enough to have Airbnb.
Yeah, before it was Airbnb or VRBO or whatever they have out there now. But so they rented a house, and it was literally right across the street from Laguna Beach. So we'd go do whatever we do, and then we'd mob out and just hit the beach. And
I still want to do that. Like, we had talked about that after we all went to Vegas, remember?
We talked about like going down to Miami,
trip.
I think.
Yeah, the couples trip. We were like, let's get a beach on the house, like house on the beach.
For all 10 of us or 12 of us or whatever.
We looked into it fairly heavily, and then it, like most stuff, you're like hyped up after the vacation, and you're like, let's plan the next one, and
then
just life happens, and
just like everything else, life happens.
It fell apart, and we've never talked about it again. And Jack and them have moved; they're off in Dallas or whatever, and you guys are here, and my brother's way in Phoenix, and it's just hard to plan.
Yeah,
big group trips like that.
I will say, Jack, if you're watching, kind of a throwback to that trip, that was very, very cool of you to make the alternate path to catch up to us in Albuquerque.
I know.
And fly with us from Albuquerque to Vegas. We haven't talked to you in a while.
I know. We miss you.
So we miss you, buddy. And so if we ever get that opportunity to do it again, we need to do that, because that was extremely cool, and that was just kind of, that
was one of those life-altering trips.
Yeah, and it was because we had a hell of a time, and all of us we enjoyed ourselves, and the conversations that were ongoing were some of those. There are those moments in time that you're glad you took that time to go and have that experience, because life's short. And we want to kind of have those experiences, but mad props to Jack for doing that, and I'm glad that he took that, because that was a surprise, and it made that leg of the journey from Albuquerque to Vegas that much better. So
and I mean, props to him for meeting us there unexpectedly, and then props to my brother for, even though he couldn't travel with us, coming coming by himself and meeting us
Right.
that next day.
Yep.
It was the next day, right?
That was the next night. He came in.
Yeah, the next
because I
night.
think he had to work, and it was the next
Yeah.
night that he came in, and so
So props to my brother for coming and making that such an enjoyable trip. I
yeah,
mean,
absolutely. That was absolutely phenomenal. And the thing is most of it doesn't have to be anything grandiose. It doesn't have to be these great big phenomenal vacations because my wife and I have been married coming up on 29 years, and we've taken probably 2 major vacations like that. The one to Mexico that was a gift given to us, and then the one to Jamaica that we took on our 25th. But we were in a much different situation to be able to allot ourselves to do that. But if you can take those little timeouts to make those journeys, that's what you need to do. Because again, that's your rest and that's your reset and that's kind of your recharge button, right? To kind of get, because the world is just going to continue to beat you down, and some things the world is going to keep spinning.
Yeah.
And you can't always take that time for yourself, but if you get the opportunity, take it.
Well, yeah, and on top of that, like it, I don't know, like we all work extremely hard. Like you said, like life beats you down. Like that reset's super, super important. And honestly, I think that group of people, we could have went out into the middle of a field. For a week.
Absolutely.
And had just as many good conversations.
Uh-huh.
May not have been as fun because there's only so much you can do out in just the middle of a field.
You're out in bumfuzzle doing.
But yeah, I mean, you can get in way more trouble in Vegas than you can a field. I feel like, but like,
have you met us?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
But like the people that you're with is what it's about.
Yes. It's not necessarily about where you are, but who you're with.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people fail to understand, is that it doesn't matter where you go, it's who you go with.
Yeah, it's the company. Cause, I mean, we've all been friends for a long, long time. I don't know if I would have went with different people to Vegas. I don't know.
It might not have been the same. You know what I mean? But I think
I would still have fun because I have fun where I go. But
well, I try to do the same thing.
Yeah, and I think that's why it worked out so well. But
right,
I think if I would be there with different people, I would have still had fun, but it wouldn't have been to the level that we made it.
No, and I think that's because I think there's a certain level of trust. Like, hey, if something gets stupid and pops off,
somebody's going to step up and make sure that that people are okay.
Like we won't go into details, but like Nick, Nick and his night, we made sure we got back to the hotel.
Well, kind of both of us.
That was the same night as the strange conversation and the line at the bar. You know what I mean? That was
strange things.
But we as a collective group made sure that everybody got home safe, and then we checked on everybody throughout the night and. We made sure. That's the one thing about that specific group of friends, is that if push comes to shove, we know that everybody is going to do whatever it takes to get everybody home safe.
We always knew where everybody was at,
right,
and what everybody was kind of doing, even if we weren't completely together,
right,
because we were a little separated throughout the night and stuff. That night, anyways. Like everybody kind of had an idea of what was going on and when it was going on and stuff like that. So
absolutely.
I mean, when you're friends with people that long, I think you just have that unspoken trust.
Right.
Of, if I have one too many, then these people got my back.
Yeah. If he's if the earth is spinning and he's grabbing to the grass to keep from falling off of it, we're gonna make sure he gets home and he gets home safe, and that's the key
and honestly
thing.
We've had other things happen that I mean everybody's needed some help. Like I think I've seen all of my friends at one point at a point that they probably didn't need to be at.
Well, I mean, but that's what life does, and the ability to take those travel moments and have those experiences is the best thing that one can do, because you're not necessarily going to get that opportunity to go back, right?
Yeah.
Much like in sports, like, oh, well, we missed out on the Super Bowl this year. We'll be back next year. It's not necessarily true,
No.
right? You never know what the next day is going to bring and kind of what curveballs life's going to throw at you. But the willingness and the ability to adapt and adapt and overcome, right? Improvise, adapt, and overcome. A lot of those things lead you down a path to be able to take some of these journeys, right? That you need to, we always talk about Wusa and center your chi and goose raba kind of stuff. Those are those trips that you need to take.
Oh yeah, they'll center your chi for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I've fortunately, the growth in Dubai is amazing, right? But when I was there, it was desolate. It was a desert landscape. There was nothing there.
The richest places
yeah,
in
now
the
it's
world.
this.
I mean, they've got Ferraris just
Yeah,
in
it's
junkyards
yep,
and stuff. For
yep.
no
It's the
reason.
oasis to the stars,
Yeah.
right? That's the playground of the rich and famous, right? Like the old guy used to say, lifestyles of the rich and famous. Now that's the playground, right?
Yeah.
That's where they go to blow all their money and do the things that they do. But when I was there in, I believe it was 95. No, 94. I was there in 94 because I was there before my daughter was born. When I was there, it was just nothing. It was
That's crazy.
miles and miles, but just the growth there in 25 years. But fortunately, I had been in the Navy and had been over there, and I had been able to see that. I probably wouldn't go there on my own because of other things, but
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. Like I remembered you when you were old and busted. Now you're new and hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I think if I were to go to like a different country, maybe Australia.
Australia's been
Or
on
Germany.
Australia's been on my bucket list.
Yeah.
I was this close to going when I had to come back home because my wife was a high risk pregnancy with our daughter,
Yep.
and I had to come home and be with her while we dealt with that.
Yeah.
But we were ready to head to Australia when I had to come home on Red Cross kind of emergency leave to come back and deal with that. But that's been on my list, and we've talked about kind of going back, and we're like, well, if we go down there, we could do that 2-week vacation, do a little extension, and possibly go and spend some time in Fiji, because it's kind of on the way.
It's I don't know. Australia just seems way different than.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I've seen some videos of Australia, and I think it would be phenomenal, but kind
It's got a
of
lot of stuff that'll kill you, but a lot of stuff that's just absolutely gorgeous.
right. Yeah, and I think my ultimate dream would be to go to Switzerland in the winter to see
That's not a bad
all the snow.
Yeah,
and-
that's not a bad deal.
I mean, we live in the desert
Actually,
Southwest, you know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah.
used to the heat. Let's
Yeah,
go
that's
someplace that's freaking
That's not
cold.
That's not a bad deal, actually. Switzerland. I'd still like to go to Germany. Just I don't know. Something about Germany's always
Is that
piqued my interest.
is that because of the show that we used to watch?
No, no, I don't know what it is. I don't know. There's a lot of history there.
There's a lot of world history that's generated from
Yeah,
that.
I mean, my favorite vehicle is built there.
Which one?
Porsche.
Oh, nice.
Which maybe we can touch on at a later date, but
Yeah.
like I've always been a huge Porsche fan.
You say Porsche or Porsche?
Porsche. Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about Germany that.
Yeah, they make some phenomenal cars. Porsche, Mercedes,
Yeah,
Audi.
yeah.
And they make some not so good ones either. But we won't talk about those.
Yeah, Switzerland in the winter, that'd be.
Yeah, that's kind of like on the very tippy top of my bucket list. Like if I had one absolute ultimate dream vacation, it would be to go to Switzerland.
Definitely have to contact somebody on what do I need to wear.
Right. Yeah. So hey, if
'Cause
anybody
we're not
knows,
I have a feeling we're not buying it down here.
no, if you've been there and you've got some got some tidbits and nuggets on what to do there, by all means.
Yeah, give us some info.
Yeah, give us some info. Put a comment down below and let us know.
Yeah, any of these other places, Australia, Germany, whatever.
Yeah, by all means,
give us some info.
Because we don't, we only know what Google tells us, and so that Google's not going to tell you the little local places to go for the hidden mom and pop stowaway kind of things, and that's what I look for a lot of times. Is I want to go and find that small area that's kind of off the beaten path, but it has just amazing food, and you get to experience the culture of the environment that you're in.
Yeah. It's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah, just kind of. I've been keeping that one on reserve. Not a whole lot of people know. Now all of you know about that, but that was,
now a lot of people know.
Yeah.
Well,
all 9 of you.
Nine people know.
Yeah, that's okay. Hey, that's not what this is about.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you got anything else like on travel? Nothing. Well, out of all the places that you've been to right now, what's been your favorite?
Hawaii.
Yeah.
100%. That was long overdue time for me and the wife.
Sure.
To get away. Yeah, because every anniversary before that, I think we always had the kids with us, just because it's the timing and stuff. It was like, the winter, you kind of stop doing as much,
right?
Because it's cold out. So usually like April, it's anniversary. Well, we're going to go do something. Well, let's just take the kids. We'll go to Albuquerque and spend a few days and take them to the zoo and stuff, which is all good. You know what I mean? Like, it's
still good quality family time, but it's
family
not good.
Time's important.
It's not good quality mama papa time.
Yeah, sometimes you and mama just need to get away, and Hawaii was,
yeah.
I even talked about taking the kid, going and taking the kids with us.
One of the things that me and my wife have been looking at recently is like RVs. And fifth wheel trailers and that kind of stuff, because she's like, well, when we retire, this is kind of what I want to do. I'm like, who are you and what did you do with my wife? Because when we first got together, you said, no, I'm never going to go camping or stay in anything outside of a Holiday Inn.
But that's my wife today.
Yeah. So at least I know they come by it honestly, right? Because I think that's what probably Gaga told them. Probably. I ain't going camping. If we go camping anywhere, we're staying in a hotel.
They are city folk for sure.
Yeah.
City folk for sure.
Yeah, I don't foresee them ever doing like what I do during deer hunt.
Yeah, no.
Where I'm in a tent and I'm this high off the ground on a foam pad and bundled up with sleeping bags.
My brother's getting concussions.
Getting concussed by the tent, beating him on the dome.
Because we got 40.
David, I'm sorry about that weekend. I mean,
40 to 60 mile an hour sustained winds for 48 hours straight.
Yeah, it was calm when we got there. It was calm when we decided to leave, but the entire time between that was just a giant windy mess.
Yeah, just brownout conditions. It's the worst hunt. and we can get into that later maybe too. It's one of the worst hunts we've ever had.
Yeah.
Just miserable. And I've had some miserable hunts.
I've had some bad hunts. And I've had some really great hunts that the weather was just absolutely crappy. But again, I think a great hunt for some people would not necessarily quantify as a great hunt for me.
Yeah.
So, because to me, hunting, and I don't want to spoil it, but for me, hunting is not about going out, finding the animal and harvesting one and bringing home that meat. It's bigger than that, and I think a lot of people get lost in, you're going out and killing a defenseless animal, and we'll save that for another topic for another day. But it's bigger than that.
Kinship and
right, it's the kinship, the camaraderie. It's resetting and recharging those batteries, right?
Yeah, with your ultimate time to do
with your brothers, right? And that's the thing is that it's hunting is the aspect of it, but it's not the only aspect. And I think a lot of people get lost in the, you're shooting a gun and you're killing a defenseless animal and all that kind of stuff. But I saw a video a couple weeks ago that showed, I believe it was a white-tailed deer that had, I think it was chronic wasting disease, right? Which is
CWD.
Yeah. So for any animal that we harvest here in the state, we have to get it tested, and if it tests positive for CWD, you do not get any of the meat from it.
Yep.
And so It was somebody that was filming this whitetail, and the whitetail was just spinning around in circles, and it had all the classic signs of this disease that will wipe out. It could wipe out an entire deer population.
Yeah, which they've had major issues in certain parts of New Mexico with it, and other places. But like they've had to shut down hunts in entire areas.
Yeah, because it's I mean it's much like a virus, right? And just the way that it spreads and mutates and does what it does to the animal, and it's it
comes from cows, doesn't it?
Well, it's a form. Cows have what's called BSE, bovine spongiform encephalopathy. And the only reason why I know that is because when I was in college, in biology, I had to do a paper on it.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah, and so it was, again, so this was in, I think this was in the late 90s when I had to write that article, because this was after I'd gone to the Navy and I'd come back and I was going, was trying to go back to school, and I was taking a biology class, and I had done that, and that was fortunately just what I was assigned was mad cow disease, and basically how it mutates to other species, and so in in humans, basically it's just a single prion. It's almost like a cancer. It's just a single prion that the switch gets flipped on it, and it basically can amplify, and it gets into your brain. It basically turns your brain into jelly. I mean, your brain's already kind of a gel now, but it's
mushes in.
Right. Yeah. So
a spoon, whip it up.
Yep. Blend it up. That kind of thing. So, but it's it's just kind of crazy. But we can talk about that.
Interesting.
Circle back to that one. But yeah, the only reason why I know that is because I had to write that paper.
Still learning stuff about each other.
Yeah. Even as long as we've known each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't reveal all my dirty secrets at once. I like to string you along.
String them along.
Yeah.
Just the important ones.
Yeah.
String those important
ones
along.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think we've kind of killed this topic.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to the next one?
Yeah, I think so.